just want to say hi and just talk, I guess, a little bit about what we're up to, and like broad strokes. So, what are you up to, Savannah?
Oh, what am I up to? I am, uh, what
That
am I?
could mean that doesn't have to mean literally like stuff you're doing, but like, just like where's your mind at? What are you prioritizing? What do you care about right now? Like
Mm,
anything.
right now, I am deepening my celebration of love and working with people in a bunch of different modalities to celebrate love. Because if you know me and my work, I do a lot of self-love work, and it's been very much in containers of, like, private forest bathing sessions with photo stuff and my coaching work with helping clients to love themselves more, and now this last weekend, I photographed a wedding as a second shooter for the first time, and that was super fun, and that was cool because I studied advertising and commercial photography at university, and everyone was always like, "Oh, you're gonna have to shoot weddings to make money and to grow," and I was like, "No, no way. I'm never." I just imagined the horrible bridezillas, and, I mean, I was in Southern California at the time, so I think that concern was justified, um but I just, like, it seemed like such a high stress thing, and just you have, like, so much pressure. There's only this one moment to capture all the beauty and everything, and what if you mess up? But now, being in Washington State and being more evolved and a regulated human, then it was really fun, and it's also cool because when you have multiple shooters at a wedding, there's not pressure on one person to capture everything, so there's always, like, a backup, and so then it becomes fun and more creative. So I really enjoyed that. It was like a different lens to celebrate love through, and, I mean, I've imagined this anyway because to me, the forest bathing shoots is like an elopement or a marriage to yourself, and then it just naturally crosses over to a wedding with somebody else, of course. So I just yeah, deepening my work with love is what I'm up to, and what are you up to?
Well, I first would just like to say that you're such a good photographer. Like that, I think you just sent me some photos from that wedding, and just a couple. And like, I don't think I'd seen that side of your photography skills before. Like, I had seen, your most public work is your nude photography, and that like I'm very familiar um with kind of your look, your aesthetic, your like how you approach that, and I've always loved that. And then I've seen your food photography, which you've done professionally before as well. And but this is the first time I don't think I'd ever seen something like a wedding or anything like that, and they're so good. Like I like yeah, I just want to say that publicly so everybody can hear that Savannah is a master of her craft, truly.
Well, thank you. So, if you're waiting to get married or elope, now is the time, and I will
Yeah.
of it.
If you're like holding back because you're like, I just don't know if we'll find the right photographer. Now you know this is your sign.
Or the opposite, like, if you always were like, "Yes, I have this perfect vision wedding, it will be so aesthetic, and, I don't know if I wanna marry this person, but now I have a photographer." And then you just
Perfect.
get divorced if it doesn't work.
Yeah, easy. Just backspace.
Yeah. Do, delete, yeah. Well, thank
I think that's great. I think that's I know that you're like the root or the thread that ties together your what you do with coaching and photography, especially the nude photography and the forest bathing, is all about love. It's all about self-love, and it's just yeah, it's cool that like something that was once like all the way harkening back to university when it was more of just like I guess the path kind of took you around and you arrived at wedding photography being like potentially part of something that you're doing, but having arrived there through like the maturation of this idea and this embodiment of like self-love, where instead of just like being like, well, I got a degree in photography, so now I'm just going to photograph weddings to make money. It's like you
Yeah.
rejected that for a while and like really cultivated your base of self-expression and your own version of creativity, and then came back to wedding photography like from that this new vantage point, which I just think is another reason why it's so special. Like aside from the photos themselves looking amazing, it's just like it's a great way to look at photos from a wedding.
It's true. It's not coming from a place of scarcity and like, "Oh, no, I need to do this," but it just was a natural progression of the circle of yeah, the process and uh, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Um, what what am I up to? I'm continuing taking my human design journey very seriously and really tuning into how it is affecting my work and the way that I feel about my work. And I think that the biggest thing I'm trying to do is, or the biggest shift that um, seems subtle but it's really big, is like people say like rest is productive, which is true. I've always believed that because I teach people how to rest and nervous system downregulation and stuff like that. But I still had not gotten away from the idea that like you gotta work first before you rest, or it's just like work, like get up, work, and then when you need to rest, it's a good idea to rest so that you can go back to work. And like then if you want to play or if you want to have fun or if you want to chill out, it's like you got to get your work done first. And I am, as I study the projector type, which, that's my type in human design. I won't go into it. You can look up human design or reach out to me if you're interested in the topic. But just looking up the projector type, it's like, it's more than just like, oh, projectors need to rest or like their energy ebbs and flows. It's like from a frequency standpoint, I should be operating from a frequency of ease and play and joy and rest and kind of moving through life like on my terms at my own pace. And then that frequency is the platform from which opportunities come my way, from which I do my best work and I can be fully present and I can prioritize and I can make decisions that are correct for me. And so it's not just like, yeah, get up and work. And then when you need to rest, it's rest. It's like your first priority or my first priority is is play, is fulfillment, is joy, is ease, is sinking into this frequency of being grounded and present, because that's the frequency through from which I am meant to guide people. So treating it like taking that like whole like rest is necessary, rest is productive to the next level of like rest is actually the prerequisite for my best work. And honestly, it's not easy. It's not easy to like I am very like it's habituated. It's just like work, work, work. I'll rest when I'm done. I like to do like I love what I do. I love making resources for clients. Um I love making like I just filmed a new or an updated course for my clients, like that kind of stuff, but it's just like I can get into the trap of just like, oh, just like I'll edit one more video. And it's just like what would happen if I didn't and I just trusted that I will be able and willing to do it later and prioritize joy and ease first.
Mhm.
So it's funny because it's like, oh, having fun and just deciding to have fun or just deciding to just chill out and take care of yourself is like the hardest thing for an adult American to do in 2025, and it's so sad because it's like, oh, if that's like that sounds easy. That's a great thing. It's like, have you tried it? Are you a workaholic? Like most of us are workaholics. Try actually doing nothing in the morning and not rushing to, it's like it's really hard. So that's my current overarching endeavor.
Yep, that's relatable. That just, like, pushing past the belief system that rest has to be earned, like, you
Mhm.
reward after something, and
Mhm.
it's interesting because from, like, a physiological standpoint, I think we've talked about like, you've encouraged me to start the day off with, breathing and meditation because cortisol is high in the morning, and so you need to it's actually really beneficial to start with getting grounded, whereas previously and still it kind of feels this way in my brain, thinking that, "Oh, I should just, like, jump out the door and go do something right away," and, like, I don't know. There's the tendency to compare yourself to the 4 AM workouter, and the question of, like, is that really good for you? Like, is that is that a personality type that actually works for, or is that no matter what kind of not the greatest thing to do because you should be grounding yourself with that higher cortisol in the morning?
I I think so. I think cortisol is higher in the morning for a reason. So it is when we are supposed to be our most kind of alert. I do think it depends on the person. I think that it depends on so many factors, and like at where I'm currently at, and adding human design like officially into my work, like that's the first place I'd look is somebody's design and whether or not that could inform us as to how like if that's a good idea for them. But I think if we zoom out, the thing that's necessary is presence, and whether you decide, it's that intentionality. It's not letting your mind run ahead of your body, I guess.
Mm,
So like, where it's just like, okay, I should do this, like shooting on yourself mentally without checking in with your body and without your body like agreeing to go. So like it's basically what does my body need and being honest about that and making sure that it's not a bad thing to get up and go do something as long as your body that's what's good for your body and you know that intuitively, and like that can serve you very well. I think that the hardest thing for everybody is to, number one, know how to read their body's signals. That's a skill called interoception. Number two is the willingness to do it, the willingness to uh, adopt a new habit that's unfamiliar. And every new habit is hard, even if it seems like the easiest thing in the world, even if it's just resting, even if it's playing, even if your brain is a prediction machine, craves what's familiar. The simple act of starting your day with 1 minute of mindful breathing or slowing down the pace at which you get out of bed is hard for people if it's new. So I would start with intentionality. That's the linchpin, I think.
mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. And I've been kind of thinking about this with uh my brain fart. So I'll come back to whatever I was thinking about with that. But um
Okay.
yes, but also circling back to just the basics of the human design stuff, I think it's interesting because your job, like you mentioned, resting first and then also joy and the feel good stuff. And I am a manifesting generator, and you've emphasized to me that I also need to start the day with, like, not necessarily with rest, but with joy and whatever makes me feel good. And um, so it's interesting that kind of like that is the foundation between two very different um types. And I don't know. Are there any types that you're not supposed to start the day with, like, a positive thing?
No, not really. I mean, like the thing is, like with some generators or manifesting generators, like what truly brings them joy maybe is work. It depends on what work means to you. So the difference with like a projector is that we are the we are living in a world that's a generator frequency. So and we are not supposed to get swept up in that buzz. We are supposed to move at our own pace on our own terms because we are literally meant to guide people to slow down and be more efficient. That's our job is to because we are not built to go go go. Our wisdom in part comes from mastering systems, guiding people through those systems and specifically how to use their energy more efficiently because the world is changing and people are going to need to do that more. So it's like we become experts at being more efficient and doing more with less and offering a ton of value without grinding away for no reason. So effort does not equal value. And we can't teach people that, and we can't attract people who want our guidance if we are not embodying that. So we can't be like a stressed out, like, I'm going, like doing, and then sit down and guide people on how not to do that. Not just from an integrity standpoint, but like if you believe in human design, it's like energetic frequency. It's like my aura, quote unquote, is like putting out this discombobulated, not the grounded frequency that I'm supposed to be embodying. Now, with your type, you do embody that energy. You're meant to embody that energy, and what attracts your opportunities is your joy. So joy specifically, like being lit up, being enjoying what you're doing, no matter if it's fast paced, slow paced, like whatever is just like this doing this makes me so happy is a great way to like kind of reset your frequency because the frequency that your type needs to be in is like enjoyment and like having fun creating or doing whatever you do. And so we recommend that you start the day there because it's you're more likely to stay in that frequency throughout the day if like you start on a positive note.
Mhm.
So they're similar, but ours is about like embodying the grounded. Like I'm not subscribing to the fast pace of the world because I'm meant to guide people toward my pace, whereas yours is like I'm I'm meant to put all my energy into things that I love doing, and I'm not gonna find that if I'm not in a frequency of doing things that I love doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like yours is more focused on, like, the being, and then mine
Mhm.
is still can be the doing,
Yes.
um, but
But
I
it
feel
needs
like
to be doing that makes you feel good, like, because that's the trap that generator types get sucked into is, like, you'll do stuff no matter what, but the frustrated generator or manifesting generator is doing stuff that they don't actually wanna be doing all the time, whereas the satisfied one is still doing the same amount of work, but it's stuff that really lights them up.
yeah, and then it circles back to, um, what you said about effort. What did you say? Effort does not.
Effort does not equal value.
Yeah, that was really powerful. I loved that.
I saw it on some guy's Instagram story that I follow where he was it was a Father's Day post and he was just like, "Thanks for my dad for teaching me that effort doesn't equal value." And I'm like, "Bingo."
Yeah, powerful, and I think this is maybe not completely relevant, I guess, but I was having a conversation yesterday and someone was telling me about like a they looked like kinda an OnlyFans creator on Instagram with, like, all these followers, and the topic was like, "Gosh, how do you get censored?" And, like, "This is okay with boobs falling out and pubic hair hanging out," and all this stuff, and that but they have, like, 5,000,000 followers or something, and they're like, "Oh, yeah," like, they're hustling. It's like so I just think of effort does not equal value with that. Is like, okay, like, they're hustling and for what? Like, what are they giving to the world? I
Yeah.
don't it's just,
Yeah.
like, just because 'cause you're hustling as well, like, and turning it around is like, the hustle doesn't necessarily get you 5,000,000 followers, like, you can hustle
Right.
and not reaching that, and that is not a good measurement of, like, actually giving value to the world is your priority.
100%. And you and I have both hustled very hard on stuff that just didn't land with people. Like, we've been I mean, it's it's not easy, like, running your own solo coaching business or creative any kind of creative business, and it's like, the fact that, like, I have I all my gray hairs have come in the past, like, since I stopped working full time and started working for myself because it's, like, so much effort, and, like, if you're putting it doesn't matter if your messaging isn't clear or, like, you're just not offering something that people really want or whatever. Like, I've had to go through a lot of different, positioning of my brand, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, like, nowhere near, but I'm getting little signposts along the way of, like, operating from this frequency is helping me see who I need to be better, and that's value. It's like I say this all the time, I've made posts about it where it's like, "Why is coaching so valuable?" It's not that it's not about effort, it's not about, like, your like, do you want a coach who spends do you want the same result in 1 hour a week or 3 hours a week? Probably 1 hour because it saves you time too. So if a coach has that much expertise and they can just give you one nugget that's just like, "Have you ever thought about this?" And you're like, "Holy shit," and it completely changes your perspective, that is infinite value that will pay dividends along the course of your life. You can never unsee that. You can never unlearn that change of perspective. And it didn't take a lot of effort, at least not in the moment, on your part or the coach's part. It
Yeah,
was just it's value, it's timing, it's that is to me the epitome of value because you could have a coach that gives you 100,000 tools and puts all this effort into making those tools for you and whatever, and it's like, okay, if that just overwhelms you and doesn't actually, like, level up the way that you think or your behavior change or get you the result you want, doesn't provide you any value, no matter how hard it was to make. So, like, it works both ways where it's like, yeah, we know that, like, you can put in a lot of effort and also produce shit value. But don't forget the high value that any of us have gotten from we've all experienced it somehow, some way from somebody sometime in our life where we got high value with minimal effort.
mhm,
And like that's okay. Like I think we gotta stop glorifying the hustle, like you just said, and start shining a spotlight on what the value is. Where like yeah, we just gotta we I think we did a whole podcast episode on this and like coaching. We were a little bit ornery about uh the kind of how people view coaching, but I'm telling you, there's just I've paid so much money to go see a coach and like 5 minutes. If I had like spend a weekend with a coach and like 5 minutes only would have been worth the thousands of dollars because of the insight and the way that they're able to see what you don't see and shift your perspective.
mhm.
But that's what I think of when I think of effort does not equal value, and that, that's not even accounting for all of the effort and the money and the sacrifices that a really great coach has made over the years investing in their expertise. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. I think and I'll say sometimes to people, like, your life can change with one conversation. And, like, you can if you book a discovery call, like, you don't have to be like, "Oh, no, I have to sign up after this." Like, you should go into it with no pressure. Like, yeah, it's great if for us, if you sign up for our programs, but, like, that discovery call could change your life. And it's just everything can change with a sentence if it lands at the right time.
Yes. I really like I'm so glad you said that because I really feel like there are a lot of people behind the scenes who could like really benefit from those calls, and I open a couple free slots weekly for these things and I put them out on my Substack newsletter, my email newsletter, whatever. And I feel like people like they don't sign up for them because they're shy because they feel like it's going to be a sales call, which, like, of course, we are going to present our program as an option if it is an option. Like, if you're suffering from something I can't help you with, I'm not selling you my program. And you wouldn't do that either because integrity is really important to us. But, like, at the same time, it's just like I can see why you would feel like, just like the social pressure to like give back and like invest in the program. And it's like, but think of it like we wouldn't offer these. It's not like we're offering them with like expectations and resentment. It's like I truly get joy out of changing someone's life. I just had one yesterday with a guy. I know him. I knew him from college. He didn't buy my program. He he didn't invest, and I had him do a quick breathing exercise, and he was like, man, now he's been a singer his whole life and an athlete and whatever. And he's like, I have heard people talking about this sensation of like 360-degree expansion and like pressurized breathing my whole life. And I never ever felt it until doing this exercise. And I'm like, that's a win for both of us. Like, would I love to work with him? Do I know that I could help him further through my program? 100% he'd be perfect. But if he's not ready, I'm not using that as a way to pressure him
Yeah.
into investing. Maybe he'll invest when the time is right. But like the call itself, like think about just like how satisfying it is to make an impact on somebody's life regardless if you are paid for it. Like that's kind of what coaching is about as well. And then, a good coach hopefully actually does get paid for it enough to sustain a decent lifestyle.
Yep. And I think we're both very similar too with our methods of like people would probably look at how we're showing up in like sales and stuff and say like, oh, that we're doing it wrong because we're not constantly pitching and we're not always presenting this to people and we don't have our elevator pitch at the tip of our tongue like in normal conversations. And I think that's a lot of it is like we don't we want our lives to be an example of like we want people to look at us and just feel us and see what we're doing and be like, "Okay, I want some of that." And we don't want to use words to try to convince someone, especially if it's not right. And I think we're kind of moving through the world and attracting the people who, like, they're, like, at the cusp of, like, "I'm ready to do this," and then they see the example of it, and then they're ready to, like, take that step and move into it, and, like, I don't know. I think both of us are similar in, like, we don't want to sell stuff, and so, like, if you come to either of us and you're interested, neither of us are gonna be, like, bugging you and just, like, trying to, like, go
Yeah.
far into being trying to convince you. It's like,
Right.
I don't wanna convince you to do like, to sign up for anything with
No
like,
way.
that's gross, and I don't want to feel like I had to beg you to, like, show
Yeah.
up.
It's not correct.
Yeah,
It's just not a correct way to establish that relationship. Like it's like any relationship, it's like, well, I don't want to beg you to be my friend. Like if you don't want to be my friend, then I'm not like, or I don't want to beg you to date me. Like it's not going to work out if only one of us is interested. Like it's like the same thing. It's just no one should have to beg you to be their client or their coach. I mean, what if like I said, if somebody is really I know that they could benefit fit, I will tell them that
yeah,
I really believe that this will make a huge difference for you and here's exactly why. But that's it. There's not going to be a, hey, so are you ready to make that investment now? Don't forget, the price of waiting around is a lot higher than the price of my program. It's like, no, 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 no. Like I'm here. You know what I offer. If and when you're ready for it, like, come on down. It'll change your life. If not, that's not my decision to make for you or even with you. It's your decision to make and come to me when you've made it or don't. Like that's that's the place we want to come to this from. And like I just think that feels better for everybody, for us too.
Yep. Yeah, I I mean, part of, like, the introspection that you're talking about, I now remember what I was gonna say, is just, like,
Eh,
living with intention is constant introspection of, like or wait, what was the word? Intro
Oh, the internal awareness
yeah.
in interoception.
Oh, so basically the same word.
Mhm.
Introception. Um, but just, like, living in that alignment, it's just constant, there was some weeks back when I was talking with you, and I was like, "I need this schedule. I need to know that this day I'm doing mountain biking, and this day I'm doing CrossFit, and this day I'm doing this," and that is the easy thing to do. It's easy to set a schedule and to not tune into what you need every day. It's hard to and, like, it creates ease, it creates an automated system and whatever, but, like, to actually go in and I also am very much the in the realm of, like, discipline equals freedom, and that structure helps to create that
Yes.
but also, there's also that power to take each morning and to, "Okay, how do I feel like okay, I feel like painting this morning, I feel like writing this morning, I feel like going to CrossFit, I feel like going for a walk," and to tune into that, and it's hard. Like, it takes willpower, it takes time, it takes sitting with yourself in silence, and it's just like the easy button is to have the routines already in place and to not
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. That's so true. And that I think depending on how much willpower you have and what your personality is, like the easy button is pushing through something that you don't want to be doing. So if
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to move my body every single day. Okay, well, there's a healthy way to do that for sure. Like, if you're not grinding, if it's well balanced and everything. But like, let's say you decide you're going to do that and it sucks. Like, it feels terrible. You're exhausted, your joints hurt, like, it's just not fun, and you wake up at whatever time and you just do it anyway. But, like, the easy thing to do is to just push through and be like, "Well, this sucks, but I said I was gonna do this every day, and so I'm gonna do this every day." And, like, that type of willpower can be really helpful and admirable in a certain context where it's applicable, like a short-term type of thing, but, like, it's a lot harder to be like, "Okay, I'm not gonna quit, but I need to figure out why this feels so awful for me." Like, I
Yeah.
have to go a layer deeper, and that's work people don't wanna do. Like, some people it's like you the outer layer is like, "Okay, I just need to, like I need whatever. I'm unhealthy, I'm gonna change a habit." And then the next layer is, like, the discipline to do that habit. And then the next layer is, like, the discipline to figure out that habit's actual relationship to like your life and your presence and your being. And like that is just where most people stop. And we glorify people who go from not having the habit to like forcing themselves to just do the thing no matter what. And like we do not nobody people are blind, completely blind to that next layer deep of like, okay, so how sustainable is this? Or like what's the actual purpose of this long term? How is this really serving me? And how do I like figure that out? And that is deeply personal work and it takes a lot of intention. It takes interoception. And like I think it just comes down to like we're just our attention spans are just shot and the like the hardest thing to do is to pay attention prolonged to something, let alone your body, like how you're feeling. Like we're so disconnected. So no wonder it's easier to just, yeah, have that schedule and just push through it no matter what. And then you don't have to pay attention. You don't have to worry about it. And that's just too bad. But I think I'm glad you brought that up because there is a time and a place for it. But I think you're right.
Mhm.
It goes way deeper.
Yep. Yeah, and the way the reason I circled back to that was just talking about, like, the showing up as coaches in the world, and I was thinking about how just, like, tuning into the introspection of how do I feel when I go into social containers and, like, I'm being pitched to all the time or things like that, and I just, like, I've been in those environments where just someone is a walking elevator pitch, and it turns me off so bad, and I think, like, for some reason, it works for some people, and it seems to light them up, but I don't wanna be the person in the group who is like, "Oh, Savannah's coming, let's, like, get ready to hear her elevator pitch," and then because like, I feel that resistance, and so if you're building a business or whatever you're doing, I think just, like, tuning into how you like to be engaged with is a very like, that's a very important compass to figure out, like, how you should be engaging with the world, and who do you wanna be in the social circle when you show up.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, and I think that can go well, it can also go too far in the other direction. Um, like I think it just depends where your baseline is.
Mhm.
Um, my baseline will always be less of a hard sell for anything like that, like being not an elevator pitch, but I've identified, like, with a business coach, like, opportunities where it's like, you could have at least, like, made like, your coaching service known, Griffin. Like, there are, like, these small opportunities where you don't have to push anything, but just, like, really easy conversational ways to connect this person, what they're talking about, to your program in a way that's, like, natural. So, like, I think we all gotta take where we're starting from, and, like, there are people who are just so naturally salesy, and it's like, those people need to dial it back and,
Yeah.
yeah, put themselves in the client's shoes. But I think we can also, like, if we're naturally not salesy, put yourself in the shoes of you at a time when you are so glad that you were introduced to something that, like, like a solution to a problem you had that you didn't know the solution existed. It's just like, and maybe they weren't selling you something, but maybe you're just like, yeah, like, I've been trying to find this kind of thing, or this has been bothering me, and a friend is just like, I saw this thing, like, online, like, you should check it out, and then you see it and you're like, holy shit, this is what I've been looking for. So it's like, also put yourself in the shoes of that person who, like, you're actually doing them a service by letting them know that your service exists.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is what and this is just another, like, reason coaching is so important, because it's taken a personal coach for me and business and sales to, like, help me see those things that I don't see in myself and those opportunities. So it's just like everybody needs to be coached, guided, helped in, like, some area by somebody who really has, like, intentions to help and to elevate people to the next level.
Yep. And this is why you have the gray hairs, because this is another thing that is just really hard to find the perfect balance of.
So true. Look at that.
I don't have gray hairs, but I'm blonde, so I don't
So even when they
know.
come in, they'll be
Those
less noticeable.
those white, maybe.
Yeah. Well, if any of you guys wanna be a silver fox prematurely, you can just try to start your own coaching business. Deal with people's preconceptions about what coaching is and the value of coaching, they'll pop right in.
Yep. Mm. Well, to kind of circle it back to the human design, I just wanted to also just applaud you for a moment because anyone that I mean, if people don't know about human design, you should find out about human design and look at what your profile is, which you can do for free. But I just want to give you a shout out because you're the one that introduced me to human design, however many years ago, and it's just it people probably think it's kind of floofy and whatever, but it has been so transformative for me to accept myself more and to really figure out systems that work for me. And you have been my main resource for that. And like you have so many years of researching it, and then the certification recently is just a cherry on top of, like, the unseen iceberg of the wealth of knowledge you already have, and you just I don't know, the way that you see things in people is amazing and so in-depth and so accurate and eloquently put, and yeah, so everyone should come to you for that. Now
Thank
that
you for saying that.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that recognition. That's important for my human design type, recognition. Um, so thank you. Yeah, it's I'm so glad that it's helped you, and it's just it's so powerful. And you know, the other 99% of what I do and teach is like so rooted in hard science of the body and psychology, where it's like it took me a while to be like, okay, this is it's new agey. It's not it's pseudoscientific. Quantum physics is supposedly a part of it, but like everybody thinks they know what quantum physics, and none of us do unless you're a quantum physicist. I don't really understand it. Like, but it's just like, okay, is this tool like, am I going to use a tool if it's useful? And do I care about what people think? Do I care about if it's objectively proven to be true yet, or if it ever will be? Like, you just at some point you've got to be like, look, this is so helpful and so accurate, and especially when it comes to self acceptance. And just like we free up so much bandwidth to do what we're supposed to do, to 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 live a life of like giving value to the world, when we're not hung up on judging ourselves, when we're not hung up on shoulding on ourselves, or like any of that stuff that comes with just an inability to accept who you are, because deep down inside you're unconsciously trying to be someone else, or trying to be who everyone told you you should be. And
Yeah.
just that alone, I mean, human design has so many actionable things that you can do and experiment with to actually like, but beyond those actionable things, if all you get out of human design is just like a okay, like it's okay that I'm like this, and I can be like this, and I can lean into this, and I can let go of self-judgment. That alone, I promise, will just make you more productive and like open to new opportunities and see the world in a different way, and just like free up that bandwidth. So um it's helped me. I'm glad it's helped you. I've helped a few people lately. I just got a message from another a generator, a pure generator friend, who is finding success in the same thing and starting her day with something that she enjoys, and taking note of like the feelings of frustration versus satisfaction, and like going to bed satisfied and be like, whoa, this like compounded, and like I haven't felt this in a long time. So like if you can suspend your disbelief about something kind of new agey, and just you got nothing to lose. Just like trying to put it into action and just seeing if it makes your life better. Just treat it like an experiment. What the hell? I don't have to believe in all the spiritual stuff that comes with it. Highly recommend it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kinda like what I think of when people maybe accuse something of being a placebo effect or something, and I'm like, "Well, did it make you feel better?" "Yes." "Okay, who cares?"
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Like, rooted in science, who cares if it's true? Like, if it helped you and made you feel better, and you let the walls of judgment down, then it worked for you, and it like, whatever. I don't know.
Yep. 100%. Did you get the result? Yeah. Who cares where it came from? Who cares if you can say like, and I think that like when we judge, we're really just afraid of judgment from others. It's like deep down, it's like you don't care if it was a placebo, you feel better. What you care about is like if somebody asks you how you felt better, and then you're like, well, like if I say human design, it's gonna sound like they're gonna judge me. So like that doesn't work. It's not, and it's just like if you could just be more open and less judgmental of yourself and not fearful of others' judgment, like that's so easier said than done, but I really think like all of that stuff is it's just fear based. It's like you really don't care. You just want the result. Don't we all? Like we just want to feel better. We just want to whatever, be more insert whatever you want in life. And like, if someone was like, okay, you have to just admit that like angels are real and then you can have all of it. It's like you would do it, or maybe you wouldn't. But if you wouldn't, you're just afraid of what people are going to think of you. And that alone is a huge hurdle.
Yep.
But that's something human design is, like I give so much fewer shits about what anybody thinks of me because I've owned who I am as a differentiated, unique human being. And human design really helped me with that. So,
Yeah, which is great. And I think, I don't know. Yeah, we all need to like be so that's I mean, I guess that's the main goal of it being introceptive and introspective. Uh um like you're so solid that like if stuff comes up and people question all of that, like, you just know where you stand, and there's no question in your mind of your integrity or your intentions behind something because you are living that integrity every day, and you know yourself so well that when things get thrown at you, you have some armor up that is able to deflect it, and you don't drown in it, and you know that your compass is a a good compass.
yeah, that's really well put. Like, it's the only compass you need.
Yep.
Like, you don't need someone else's compass. Like, somebody can judge you and you can be like, that might be correct for you. It's just not correct for me. I'm just
Mhm.
not, I don't operate that way.
Yep.
I'm glad you do. Great. It's just not me.
Yep. I read
Whereas before, I mean, the only thing anybody ever needs to say to justify any decision they make is like, it's the decision I'm making. You don't need a reason why. I mean, of course, if someone it's affecting somebody else or close relationships different, but just in general, just the way that I work or the way that I structure my day or the type of content I choose to make, like I answer to nobody. And if you're not, but like if you are not comfortable with that justification of like this is what's correct for me or this is what I'm choosing because this is what I want to do, if that doesn't feel solid in you, then you will try to find other reasons to justify, and those like you can just run around in circles like what, and then you'll never be solid on anything because there's a reason. There's You can justify anything outside of you. It's like joining the debate team or something. It's like you pick which side you want me to argue and I'll argue it.
Yep.
But so it doesn't matter what there's a scientific study to prove both sides of whatever extreme topic of debate. It does like it's not good enough it's not solid enough to choose something external to justify or validate a decision that you're making. It must come from within. And that the only way for it to come from within is to feel really good and really powerful just being like because this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
Period.
Because everything that's external can eventually and probably will eventually be swept out from underneath you, and then you're gonna fall in a puddle
Mhm.
face
And,
first.
that's all that happens.
Yep.
Maybe you can get up from the puddle and dry off and try again, but, you might fall in something worse, and then we can't help you, so
True.
learn to accept yourself sooner than later and avoid all the puddles.
All the puddles. Well, I feel like that wrapped around naturally to a good conclusion.
Yeah. We were gonna come on for half an hour, and we've been on for much longer than that.
Usual.
Yep.
But well,
So, will this be shared live? I don't know, if how Substack Live works, if it's only live or if
yeah,
this will.
somehow it will be shared. I don't know the details of how that happens, but it turns into, as far as I understand, it turns into a post. So I think we'll figure it out.
Okay, well then, if you're watching this not live, then you've already figured it out and you've gotten to the end.
Yeah.
So
But
thanks for watching and listening. And
yeah,
as always with our podcast too, and we love we love to hear from you, right? Like thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We write and and I talk. I don't know if you post podcasts too, but I do all my stuff in both written and spoken form here on Substack. What are you what's your main thing here on Substack?
my main thing is writing. So I've tried doing little podcast things, and as per my manifesting generator pivoting, it is once in a blue moon. So the is there. But yeah, and I guess like a little bit of that for each of us is that I like my Substack is Reclaiming the Wild Woman. And that was a term every year. My friend Traver does a year to or name your year workshop. And a few years ago, my theme for the year was Reclaiming the Wild Woman. So that's where that comes from. So it's about living a wild life, and it's mostly kind of just creative, philosophical, personal essays about stuff. But
Awesome.
yeah, what
Love
is
it. Mine is just my name, Griffin Coombs. Um, and the podcast is called the North Star Body Podcast. My signature program, coaching program, is called the North Star Body. So, um, but I also have started to write a little bit more about human design as it relates to the hard science. So I have just a couple articles and podcasts about like where the overlap is. So even if you don't believe in one or the other or whatever, like these are things that kind of no matter what your belief system, like they're the undeniable things that both the esoteric wisdom points to and also the hard physiology points to, things like interoception, and the importance of like internal awareness. So yeah, that's mostly the stuff that I write about each week. I try to get a newsletter out there, and yeah, thank you for to our subscribers, because you know we I know both of us love to just share our thoughts about not just like what we do and what we teach people, but just about life. And it's really satisfying when people listen to us or read what we have to say.
yeah, it's very satisfying to share the human experience, the messiness of it, and to have that resonate with people, and hopefully to connect dots that maybe needed to be connected, or make someone feel supported or less alone in their own experience. So,
Hmm.
thank you for being here.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Well, shall we till next time?
Yes. Till next time.
Till next time.